our duties here.
Yes.
Not going out someplace else.
No, no.
So that's why I have to, it helps me a little bit.
Sure.
I can be more ornery then.
Let's start with it. It's 40 years since your match with Bobby Riggs. I want to ask you, I know you've talked a lot about the significance of it and what it meant, but I want to ask you, what was it actually like playing in the Astrodome? It was a indoor baseball stadium. Was it difficult? What was the challenge of the actual match?
It was very difficult because, first of all, usually in tennis, we have much smaller stadiums, so the depth perception was totally different. What I did is I went in the night before and checked out the arena. I checked out looking up to the ceiling. I checked out where the locker room would be, where I would be. I talked to the guards. I make sure that I don't get lost, because if you're not used to big arenas, you get lost, and then you're really under a lot of pressure. So you want to make sure that you're organized. That's the first thing. But the depth perception I knew was going to be the most difficult, because it just went on forever and ever, the space. And we had no green. You know how you have something behind most courts today? We had nothing. We had people. So I knew that was going to be difficult. And I knew they'd be wearing different colored clothes, so I'm thinking, okay. So what helps me if I just visualize the situation, if I can visualize the court, if I can visualize, I visualize getting bad calls and responding appropriately. Like, I promised myself I stayed very quiet, very focused no matter what. It was over 30,000 people there. It was very hoopla, much more like team tennis than regular tennis in those days, which I prefer. And I prefer the participation by the audience. So that part of it I really liked. That helped me. In fact, I prefer that because I knew they were in it, I knew they were tense, and I knew they were loving it. And I knew they had a lot of bets going on, so you just knew emotions are running very high.
Was there a part of it that was really more taxing than you couldn't prepare for?
Oh, no, I prepared pretty well. I just think until you do it, you do it. I mean, you just really don't know. I'd hit a couple of balls against Bobby when we announced the match, but so he and I really never played each other. And also they put the court down so late the day of the match. They didn't get it down until about 5. So I promised myself I had to be a quick study. Plus we were doing a lot of media. And I don't think most people realize, but I also was playing a tournament during that week. Most people think, we just got ready for the match. We're only in our 3rd year of women's professional tennis, the Virginia Slims Tour. So we played a Virginia Slims of Houston tournament. I asked Gladys Hellman, who I signed the $1 contract with back in 1970. There was 9 of us called the Original 9. That was the birth of women's tennis. I said, Gladys, can you give me a break this week? She said, absolutely not. So, I'm a contract pro, so I got to play. And I totally understood the person who was promoting it, who used Sweeney. I knew that he was under the gun as well with this match popping up out of nowhere. So we played. So.
And what was the surface? Was the surface good?
It was carpet. No, it was actually good. It was really dead. And we got about 20 minutes each to get used to it. So that's why, to your point, Steve, I thought I had to be a quick study.
Did you use it to your advantage? I know you're.
No, I used to because
You were dropped. You were going to make him run, right?
I was just going to make him run, and I was going to hit the ball as softly as I could. But if you watch the tennis, it's terrible. But I didn't expect it to be that good because of all the lack of preparation, the lack of playing in there. Also, hitting the ball as softly as possible. People probably were thinking, well, what are you doing? Well, I had my purpose. I wanted him to have to generate all the power. So even if it looks ugly, that's fine. I didn't care what it looked like to others. My job that night was to win.
You did it.
So
now, shifting gears, I know you love and you won a lot of doubles championships, and I'm sure
doubles.
A lot of people here play
I prefer
doubles.
I love mixed best, then women's, and then singles.
I know you do clinics. What do you see when people play doubles that anybody could do better and they play better doubles? Do you see it's a common mistake people make? Well,
it depends. If the players that you're playing against are decent at the net, if they're pretty good, a lot of players tend to hit right at the net person, which is a big mistake. If they're not very good, that's fine. You can get away with it. But the higher the level of tennis, the harder it is to go through somebody. I always try to get even the top players in doubles to go to space, not at the person so much. Because then they have to stretch, and then a lot of times they don't even get to it. If the better the player, the harder it is to go through them. It's almost like giving them another opportunity. Unless it's just, nowadays I hit it so much harder, but in our day, if I hit it right at a really good volleyer, 9 times out of 10 it's going to come back, and they're going to hurt us more. So, and also on return of serves, I think it's really important to know where you're going to hit the ball before the person serves. And a lot of people just react to a serve. I think it's very important to pick your spot. Most of us pick our spot before they serve, or I used to have 2 or 3 options, but you really should have one. Just say, I know where I'm going to hit it. I don't care what's on that side of the net. It's amazing how many times I ask players, what do you think about? They go, I think about the player over there, where they are. And I'm like, that's probably one of the, you think a little bit about it, but you got to stay on your side of the net. The only time you have control is when the ball's with you. When it's over on the other side, it's their turn to have control. So I want to make sure I take care of my side of the net, stay on my side of the net. In fact, when I was coaching Martina Navratilova, who played for the Lobsters, Craig Carden was her full-time coach and I was part-time coach. I just, when we first started, I said, you're not staying on your side of the net, you're on the other side of the net. So every time she started looking the other side or looking at another court, he got beers and I got money. So we loved it. We look at her like, we got some more. So we used to have a really good time with that, and it really did make its point. It was a fun way to do it.
Okay. Now, you've written about pressure. You say you call it a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
I know you, in third sets that got to 5-all, you were 11-2. I believe you are. Well, if the internet doesn't lie, but that's what it says. You were 11-2.
Really?
Yeah. So you handle pressure really well, and I know you've talked about the attitude of it. But is there also something tactically that they don't handle pressure the correct way? Can you get better at handling pressure?
Yes. What most people do is they either get out of their comfort zone either way. They either go too aggressively or get under aggressive, where their true comfort zone is when they hit the ball most of the time during the match. So what they do is they change something that they're doing. The great players stay within their comfort zone right at the top of it. So we'll get super aggressive off the return. Like if you think about Agassi, or you think about Jimmy Connors, or you think about Chris Evert, or any of the players of past, they were so great at pushing themselves aggressively to the top of their comfort zone, but they didn't get out of their comfort zone. And so many of us get out of our comfort zone. We try too much or too little. And you've got to decide what that comfort zone means to you. Like just keep track of when you do play and when things are good. What are you doing that makes you comfortable in what you're doing? I mean, if you're in singles, you should hit almost every return up the middle. If you watch singles, watch how many returns are up the middle.
Why up the middle?
Because you'll win a lot of points. There's not much. There's not much angle in singles. It's really up and down a lot. Doubles is a whole different ball game. That's why I like doubles. I think it's more creative. If you hit well up the middle really well, you can win a lot of singles. In fact, in Fed Cup, which is international team play for women, just like Davis Cup is for the men, when the players were starting to go for the lines too much, I used to tell them, I want you to just hit deep up the middle. And if they were getting nervous and they would say, help, 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 I say, I want you to hit every return deep up the middle. If you want to, you can decide to hit to the weaker side of the players, but I want you up the middle. And it works. I've seen it with the top players in the world when I was a coach.
Great. I think we're good. If you didn't learn something right now, people.
Did you learn anything? Or do you have a question? Do you have 1 or 2 questions and then let's see?
Are we okay? Do anybody have
Actually, we have
1 or 2 questions? Make it good. Yes. Better be good.
From Bass River, Kristen Carr from Bass River. Of all of the awards and accolades and accomplishments in your career, of which are you most proud of personally?
Of all the accolades and awards and
Accomplishments?
It's funny. I don't know yet. I'm not finished. I'd say one is getting the Medal of Freedom from President Obama. Being the first woman athlete, which is pathetic in itself, because I think I should have been number 20 or whatever. And also for the LGBT community. That's why I got it, and it was a real privilege.
That's it.
That's it.
Can we hear it for Billie? Can we hear it for Billie Jean King?
Go ahead.
Oh, we got one more? Okay.
All right.
one more? Are you?
Yeah,
one more. One more.
A girl and a boy, that's good.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I think I remember seeing you on, I think on the TV Land cable channel. I think I remember seeing an episode of the Sonny. You remember the Sonny and Cher
Oh, I
comedy
definitely
hour?
was on the Sunny Sheriff
Yeah,
show.
yeah. I remember I saw you on a rerun of that classic show.
What was on
I
again?
think
Oh
you
my
were.
gosh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a total
Yeah.
blast.
Were you on
Also,
seven?
The Odd Couple was hysterical. Did you guys ever see The Odd
Best
Couple?
odd couple.
Wasn't that one of the
Always
best?
the best odd couple ever. She played ping pong against Bobby Riggs.
It was hilarious.